Hello, this is Amethyst here, and this is a reading for UAS, and it's reading number 835. And you asked me two specific questions for us to look at in this reading. One was about health and whether your new fitness regime is going to help improve your health, and the other question that you asked me was about career, where that's going, and whether the new venture that you're putting in place is going to be, I guess, successful or not. And I think also there's a degree of will it make you happy in there. You haven't said that, but that's what I get the feel. Okay, so we'll spend most of our time here, but I'm just going to start here for you, AS, and I'm just going to work around just to give you a little bit of context. This is Ruis, or Elder. And this Ogham stave is in the position that themes your whole reading, and interestingly it's about regret. Now for you, what I keep sensing with this is that it's so much about limited self-confidence. For you it's about self-esteem, and that things haven't always gone according to plan, and that you even doubt your own what am I trying to say here? You even doubt your own motivation on occasions, and there's so much you want to do in terms of your life, particularly around career and family, I keep being told as well, and around being purposeful, and yet your self-esteem and your self-confidence have massive holes, and you hold yourself back quite a lot. That's what I'm getting here, and that will keep cropping up through all of these as we go through the reading. These three Ogham staves, these three Ogham views here are about the past. Primarily for you, they're about the last 12 to 24 months or so, and they're themed with this one here, which is about which is Muin or Vine. I'm quite pleased to see this here, because I can see that in the last 12 months or so for you, you've actually taken on board some new challenges, looked at yourself much more, I guess, honestly. Muin or Vine is very much about reward for effort, but in order to get that reward for effort, particularly when it's about yourself, it means honestly looking at who you are. And so for you, particularly in the last 12 months, particularly even more so, they're saying to me the last 6 months, you really did say, okay, enough of pretending that things are going to be okay. Let's look at myself, warts and all, so to speak, and really see what it is that needs fixing with me. What are the opportunities for improvement for me? But in so doing, you've sometimes forgotten what your strengths are as well. So it's all very well, and it's fantastic to be honest with yourself so that you can see where the darkness is, so that you can shine a light on that and really learn to improve that. But it's also equally as important that you celebrate your successes and the things that you do really well. And for you, you tend not to do that. These two here are also about the last 12 months. This one here is Sail or Willow. A lovely Ogham stave that talks about your femininity, about your intuition, about how you speak with yourself. And over the top, underneath rather, it is over the top of Fan or Elder, and this is about seeking advice. So what I'm getting here is that you are just beginning to really understand, to comprehend, and to appreciate that your own intuition is a really good source of advice. So up until the last couple of years or so, you very much respected other people's viewpoints, and that goes back to that self-confidence thing, that for you being self-confident was really important, but it was lacking, and so, and it's still lacking, but you're aware of that now, and you've been working on that, and I can see that here in this Ogham stave here. And AS, you just emailed me, thank you, that was my computer just going ding dong, and that was your email with your date in it. I'll just double check, your date of birth rather. Yeah, 15th of May, brilliant, thank you Amanda, so I can look at that for you as well. That is absolutely fantastic. So where was I? Sorry, kind of going around in circles a bit now, aren't I? So what this tells me is then that whilst that self-confidence has been an issue for you, you are now much more aware of that, and you're beginning to listen a little bit more to your body and to what it's telling you, and more importantly to what your heart and soul is telling you. But let's spend a lot more time here, because this is really where I want to focus on, particularly in relation to your questions. Now, I am thrilled in relation to the questions that you asked to see this Ogham stave here for you. This is one of my favourites for a variety of reasons. This is Heather or Ur, and this is in the position that themes your next 12 months, and this is fantastic. Probably couldn't have been better for you, so that's really, really good. This is about love. This is about companionship. This is about sharing. This is about honouring and respecting. It's about giving, and it's about accepting. Now, all of that sounds as though it is love in terms of a partnership, love in terms of a relationship. And yes, often it is. But for you, this is about self-acceptance. And you know, here we talked about the issues that you've had with self-confidence, and that how you're just beginning to comprehend and understand how strong your own intuition is. This lets me know that over the next 12 months or so for you, you absolutely blossom in terms of your self-confidence, in terms of not just your self-confidence, because that is a byproduct of the fact that over the next 12 months you really look at yourself and say, actually, I quite like me. And what I get a strong sense of coming through, you know, it came through with that one and some of these here, is that you very rarely have you had the opportunity to be honest with yourself, look in the mirror, see yourself in the mirror and say, actually, I really love me. For you, that would be quite alien, but in the next 12 months, that's really going to be a wonderful, wonderful outcome, if you like. And I'm really thrilled to see that there. I'm going to pick up on that a little bit more. I'm just going to spend a little bit of time on each of these three, and then I'm going to put that together. Now, sitting underneath here, and thankfully it's underneath, this is my least favourite stave. This is strafe, and this is in direct opposition to this one here. This is about loneliness, it's about upset, it's about tears, it's about frustration, it's about depression, it's about the depth of darkness. And I get a very strong sense that you have been there on more than one occasion. But it is underneath this Ogham Few here, which is aspen. And this is not quite so drastic, but it's still a little bit about fear, and it's about hesitation. So again, you know, that whole self-confidence issue with you has been a massive struggle. It will continue to be a struggle, but you will find a way to overcome that. And then down the bottom here we have Huath or Hawthorn. Now, this kind of underpins the year ahead. Well, this theme's that this kind of underpins it. And Hawthorn is all about obstacles. It's about challenges. It's about things getting in your way. Now, Hawthorn does not say that you won't achieve good health and that your career is going to be, you know, crashed. It doesn't say that at all. But what it does say is that you need to think about alternative ways to get to the outcomes that you want. So, if you consider for instance, that the hawthorn bush is here and you are here, okay? And what you want is on the other side of it. It's over here. And for you, in terms of this particular question, in terms of this reading, we're looking at really a much better state of health for you and a successful career that makes you feel purposeful, that makes you feel, it gives you self-respect, and obviously that helps you pay your way. But in between that outcome and you here is a hawthorn bush. And so if you think about what a hawthorn bush looks like, it's full of thorns, and if you try and walk straight to your goal through that hawthorn bush, you are just going to get ripped to shreds by the thorns. And so what hawthorn says is you need to walk around me to get to where you want to go. So you need to find plan B to get to where you want to go. You need to be resourceful and find alternative ways to get to where you want to go. Okay? Now, what happens when we put all that together? Okay, so in terms of health, what I keep being told very strongly is that whilst you might have put in place a new health regime, your own self-confidence, your own sometimes limited motivation is going to seep in there sometimes and say, well, what the heck, why am I doing it, why am I bothering, it's all just too hard, and it'll never work, and I'll never work, and I'll never be healthy. All of that negativity stuff, sometimes that's going to seep in there. That's what this is all about. But what's really, really important, AS, is that you know that you can succeed. And we know you can because this is sitting here. And that in 12 months' time you are going to weigh less. You are going to be less, I'm told that you get short of breath on occasions. And that sometimes is it your knees or is it your hips? It's the lower part of your body gets a bit achy and sore. Maybe your feet. No, they're telling me higher than that. And that will begin to resolve during the next 12 months. You can achieve. In terms of your career, if that new option, that new venture that you've put in place, that you talked about, again, the same thing applies. Your own self-confidence is going to sometimes seep in, and it's going to say, well, hey, look, you don't know how to do this. You don't know how to market yourself. You don't know how to do this. You've never been able to do that. Who says you're going to be able to do it? All of those nasty little, creepy little things are going to seep in on occasions and undermine your dedication to the task. What I want you to, I'm going to give you an exercise in a minute that might actually help resolve some of that for you, but what I want you to know is that with continued determination, your career options will come to pass. Now, with that said, it's not going to be quite as easy as you had hoped it would be, and you're going to need to think about alternative ways to do things. Remember, we talked about that here with hawthorn. And it means as well that it might take a little longer than you thought, and it might be a little slower than you thought, and it might be a little bit more frustrating. But what I want you to focus on is that part of that is good, because it will teach you to think about new ways to do things, alternative ways to do things. It will make you resourceful, in other words. So remember, we talked about hawthorn here, and how you have to find a different way around to the end, to the outcome. So for instance, that might be, well, how on earth do I build a website to support this new venture that I want to put into place? I don't know how to do that, and it's too expensive to get someone to do it, and blah, 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 blah. There are alternative ways to do it. Just think about alternative ways to do it, and you will get it done. So this is very much about you being absolutely dedicated to task. It's about you being absolutely continuing that motivation. Now, I said that I was going to give you a little exercise. I used to give this to my patients when I was practicing a long time ago. I want you to spend a couple of days AS, and I want you to listen to the things that your brain says to you about you. I want you to listen to the negative things that your brain says about you. So if your brain sometimes seeps in with little things like, well, I'll never do it. You're such an idiot. You can't do this. You're just not healthy enough. you're just not clever enough. You know, any of that other stuff that comes up, I want you to write it down on a piece of paper. And that might take you a couple of days just to write down all the different things that your negative brain feeds to you, okay? And then at the end of a couple of days, when you've got this list of things, I want you to look at that on your piece of paper, and I want you to write a positive affirmation that counterbalances any of that negative stuff. So if you've got one that says, well, you're just physically not capable of doing it, then your positive affirmation for that will be, actually, I am physically capable of doing this. If your negative brain said something like, well, you know, it's never going to work, your positive affirmation to that on the other side of the sheet is, it is working already. You know, so what I'm asking you to do is look at all of the negative things that you wrote down that your brain was talking to you and telling you about you, and I want you to write a positive statement that countermands that. Then I want you to get a rubber band. This is not a rubber band as such, but it will do for the sake of the exercise. And I want you to put it on your wrist. Now, I do not want you to put a tight rubber band on your wrist. It needs to be quite loose, you know, one that you can easily get your fingers in. And then I want you, for the next 3 or 4 weeks, every single time you hear your brain saying something negative to you about you, I want you to ping that elastic band. And you will find that you will get bruised, and it will hurt, and you will ouch. Ow. And I want you to do that every single time you hear your brain say something negative to you about you. And so when you ping it, and then directly afterwards you say the positive counter statement that you wrote for that. Okay, so my brain says to me, well, my new business is never going to work. Actually, my new business is already working. All right, I hope that makes sense to you. So I want you to do that. And what that aims to do through the next year is reinforce your motivation and keep reinforcing your good confidence, so that you can build up that positive self-confidence that you are capable of having, so that you get the outcomes that you want. And the other thing that they're telling me very, very strongly for you is that you need to celebrate your successes. No focusing on the things that don't go quite according to plan. And you know that's going to happen because Hawthorne is there. Just because something doesn't go according to plan doesn't mean to say it's all fallen in the toilet. It just means that you need to find an alternative way to get there. Okay, really important to remember. And celebrate when things go well. You make a big song and dance of it. Really, really celebrate and congratulate yourself when things go well. So what we have there for you in the year ahead is, as long as you keep the motivation up, and as long as you really get a control over those negative statements that your brain is saying to you, you are going to have a very successful, they keep telling me business. You said the word venture, but they keep telling me business. And whilst it will be slower than you think it's going to be, okay, but they are also telling me that over the next 6 months, and they're telling me from Christmas time onwards, you're going to shift things slightly. You're already thinking about different ways that you want to do things and changes that you want to do. You're going to start putting those into place as well. So they're kind of little shifts to just kind of leverage off and build what you're doing even more. And they're saying with your health as well, you're going to do the same thing with your new fitness regime. You need to shift it up just a little bit. You need to put lots of variety in there, and you need to make sure that you congratulate yourself when things go well. Now, the other thing that we wanted to talk about was your Druid Animal Oracle card, and that is Air Dragon, or Dragatha. And I'm quite surprised to see him in here, and it's really good actually. He's all about insight and clarity and illumination, if you like, about opening things up. And remember, we talked here about how you're beginning to understand that if you shine a light on the darkness within yourself, you're in a much better position to understand what might be deficiencies within you, and and change them into something that's positive. That's exactly what he's all about. He's about looking at ourselves to seeing what we need to think about differently about ourselves. He's about facing the fear of who we really are and just going for it. You know, like the old Nike statement, just do it. He's very much about that. So I was really thrilled to see him there. And thankfully your email came in with your birthday, which is 15th of May. And I'll just find your Ogham for that, which is this one. And your Celtic birth tree is this one here, which is oak or dewar. And now this is brilliant because this is about strength, and we know you have the strength. We can see that in here. It's about absolute dedication to task. It's about doing it, and that's what oak is all about. And so you can get there. Again, this talks about that as well. Oak people are really self-motivated when the outcome is something that they really, really want. They can come across as being a little bit stubborn to other people, but that's primarily because, you know, they can be really focused. Oak people are usually pretty calm. For you, in terms of oak, you feel very deeply. You know, when you're hurt, you're really, really hurt. Oak people are the sort of people that other people rely on. You know, they're the doers, they get things done. That's oak. Your Celtic birth deity, your goddess, if you like, is Olwen, Welsh goddess. I really encourage you to go and find out a little bit about her. And your Celtic birth animal is the owl, which is a beautiful, beautiful bird of wisdom, serenity, of calmness, very much like oak as well. Very calm. Oaks are very, very calm, and they just put up with a lot of crap from other people, and they get on with it, and so do owls. So I really encourage you to Google owl and use owl as your totem animal for the next year ahead, so that, you know, when things don't go quite according to plan, and you know they won't, that with calmness and resilience you can find the alternative route that we talked about, a different way to do things so that you still get the outcome that you want. Calm, determined, motivation, persistence is what's going to get you through in this coming year, and you will achieve what you want to.